So hello, my name is Jarno van Hurne. I'm working within Exact as the global product line director, managing our portfolio for mid-market companies. And Exact has been providing software solutions to small to medium enterprises already for more than 35 years. And one of the things that we work together with Mobilize on is that we have a solution called Exact Globe, where we really needed some help. And if you see, Exact Globe is a leading finance and ERP solution that we deliver to our customers. And over the years, we have increased the breadth and depth of that finance and ERP solution considerably. And today, it has become a full suite international financial management and ERP solution. And we're now serving more than 13,000 customers in the Netherlands, but also abroad. So we serve customers with Exact Globe in 100 plus countries quite successfully. And Globe customers can choose from a range of industry-oriented modules tailored to their business requirements. So professional services companies can use it to register hours and manage projects, work in process, bookings, etc. Also, distribution companies use it to manage their orders, inventory, purchase processes, and also manufacturing companies use it to for example, manage the whole manufacturing process, including bill of materials, material planning, etc. So it's a very broad-ranging full suite solution. And it can also be configured to meet specific needs of various customer types as well. And next to that, we all said we deliver to 100 plus countries around the world, and we support more than 25 languages and country localization. So what you see is that it's a very broad and deep solution that we have. And yeah, the reason that we started working with Mobilize or starting engaging with Mobilize was the fact that we really needed to modernize the solution. It has been in the market for quite some time as a first generation ERP solution, very successfully at that. But what we have seen in the last couple of years is that the needs of the 21st century businesses really are changing, even accelerated by COVID. And they're really demanding a new generation of applications which continue to support all the key processes, but go much further in driving efficiency gains. So you have specifically SME companies need to do more with less people, really digitize and really modernize as well. And we see that companies need to be more agile as well and make quickly informed decisions, and even quicker than before. And that change that they need to do, the flexibility that they're looking for, changing their company, but also changing the systems that they use to meet their customer needs is a very important part of what the customers that we serve need. And what we've seen is that Globe has continuously evolved already from its launch. And when we initially developed Exact Globe a long time ago, Microsoft Visual Basic 6 was state-of-the-art development language used back then by many business applications. But however, since that time, you see that Microsoft technology has evolved, and .NET is now the mainstream development platform. And while Visual Basic 6 still functions today, and of course it will continue to do so for the foreseeable future, we saw that it was holding us back a little bit. Of course, there's also a possible technology risk with VB6 somewhere on the horizon. So we needed to get ahead of that and really to accelerate future development to ensure that Exact Globe remains future-proof. We needed to invest into our architectural modernization, meaning that we really needed to protect the investments of our customers, since Exact Globe is the backbone of their business, but also of Exact itself. And our objective was to replace Visual Basic 6 with .NET technology to create a technical foundation, removing any risk associated with VB6 continuity of our product, of support, and allowed us also to further innovate on our flagship product as well. So it's two things: removing risk, but also making sure that we have a platform where we could start innovating faster again as well.
Excellent. When you decided to modernize the application, what were the alternatives that you looked at, and how did you decide to go with our solution and our company?
Yeah, we considered, we did quite a lengthy process, really thorough process as well. So we considered two other specialized tools and parties in combination with offshore capacity to be able to tackle this issue at hand, because it's a very big project. And what you see is that Mobilize really came out as the top partner for us. Reason for that being that we recognized the qualities of the Mobilize solution, strong knowledge of Mobilize itself, experience of the team, but also the available capacity that Mobilize was able to bring to the table. What you see is that the team was able to work on customization of the rules applicable to our specific source code, and also to execute the initial part of the migration, which means that we had a very strong foundation and a platform for further enhancements, and also confirmation, which was very important to us, that the automated migration that Mobilize proposed really worked for us. So we really were looking for a partner that not only could bring knowledge to the table, but also the tools that actually could migrate all the lines of code and the specifics of our solution, and was able to also cater to very specific things that maybe couldn't be automatically migrated.
So Jarno, in the project, who did what? Which part did we do, and which part did your team do?
Yeah. So the whole scope of the project, to explain to that, so that I can explain that a little bit more in detail. The whole project was to migrate our ExaGlobe application written in VB6. So it's more than 6 million lines of code to ExaGlobe Plus, as we call it, which is the idea was that it's fully written in .NET, and we wanted to migrate it on a like-for-like basis. So we really also were thinking about how our customers are going to use this after the migration, so after the fact. And yeah, we said we need to migrate then the full application, so more than the 6 million lines of code, and all the functionality available in ExaGlobe Plus VB6 should be available in ExaGlobe Plus as well. So the goal was to do the migration in an automated way as much as possible. And just to give you a little bit of timeline and idea, is that the project started with a 1-week kickoff meeting with representatives from Exact and Mobilize in our development center in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And after the kickoff, Mobilize used the source code of ExaGlobe and started to enhance the migration rules used by the tooling of Mobilize to get the code migrated to .NET and compiling in .NET as well. So what you see is that we first did a first run, changes were made, and we did a second run, etc. And we also made in the agreement, because we really wanted to make sure that it worked, to make sure that the selected application, we selected a number of applications, being a good sort of split of the difficulty in some of the applications. So we took around 10% of our source code and went to the migration with Mobilize to make sure that 10% was running in .NET with the same functionality as an ExaGlobe. And the reason of having these select applications running in .NET was to get the automated migration to such a level where manual changes after the migration were minimized. Because if we had to do a lot of manual change after that, then that would sort of not reach our goal. So we did quite some work together with Mobilize. Mobilize really partnered with us on that to really get that to that 10% where it's really automated. And once the migration tooling for Mobilize was enhanced to the required level, we Exact started to migrate the remaining functionality to ExaGlobe Plus. And the 90% of the remaining source code was split up into smaller logical parts to be able to manage the migration efficiently. So that's what we did ourselves. And Mobilize really worked on getting the tool and the automation to a level where we could really also do it ourselves as well. And at this moment, we have migrated around 90% of all functionality of Exact Globe. And we're now focusing on some minor projects to really make the due to the differences that we see within VB6 on one hand and .NET in the other hand. But yeah, we're almost there.
Oh, that's great. How did the project go? I mean, if you had to evaluate the relationship and the way it worked, particularly from what we were able to do for you.
Yeah. I think very good question. So I cannot emphasize enough that the project of migrating Exact Globe to Exact Globe Plus is a really huge project. Every line of code that we had, so I said earlier, 6 million lines of code has been touched by the tooling. And as expected, we had numerous challenges during the project. But I think that together with Mobilize as our partner, we managed to resolve all of them. So huge compliment also to the Mobilize team. And in our experience, Mobilize is really a professional company with experienced project managers and experienced developers as well. And this really helped in making this migration a big success. I think we really couldn't have done it without Mobilize.
Jarno, in terms of time and cost, how do you think using our tooling compared with, say, the alternatives you looked at, like, for example, starting from scratch?
Yeah, I think it's something that we evaluated in the beginning as well. And I think that our original estimation of migrating the product manually was very close to the time we actually spent while using the Mobilize tool. But that was just an estimation from our side. I think knowing what we really know today, I think that manual migration would be impossible, or it would take a lot more time than we originally anticipated. And when I say impossible, if you look at what we have learned about the structure, the uniformity of the code generated by the tool, we could never have reached that goal and reach really that structure and uniformity by having dozens of Scrum teams following written guidelines whilst executing that manual migration. I mean, the whole effort to really align them, to making sure that they all work in the same way, following the same guidelines, such as a tool could do, it's really impossible. So I would say that, at least from our standpoint, starting a big migration without a tool that automates it is simply no way to go. And I think that Mobilize.net really delivered the right tool for the job that we had to do.
Do you have concerns, or do you have a plan for, now that you've migrated the VB6 code to modern platform, to go in and refactor it or clean it up or change the architecture in any way? I mean, how do you feel about having, in effect, the same code but in a different language and platform?
Yeah, I think what it brings to us now, so I don't think it's a need to refactor. I think we really have gotten better, cleaner code after the whole migration. So I think what we have found is that after the migration, we cleaned up quite a lot. Right now, it's really giving us the opportunity to really further innovate in a quicker way, because it's on that .NET code, our solution going forward. So we really can start now innovating again on a very clean code base, which gives us as developers a lot more efficiency options that we could never have done so with the VB6 code. But if you look at the code base itself right now, it's I said, it's structured, it's clear, it's uniform. So that really is a great starting point for us to start innovating again.
Perfect. Would you recommend our solution? Would you recommend Mobilize.net to other companies in a similar situation?
Yeah, definitely. As said earlier, we couldn't have done it without you guys. I would definitely advise Mobilize.net, recommend Mobilize.net heartily to any other company sitting in a similar situation as we have. I mean, indeed, as said, there was really a partnership. I think we really found each other, really had very short lines, really a great way of communicating between the developers, the Scrum teams that we have. Also after the 10% migration, I think we really worked together as a team, and that really made a difference. So I could hardly recommend using Mobilize .NET as a tool, and Mobilize as a company to really help any company out with such a legacy migration to a new structured uniform code base.
Excellent, excellent. Is there anything else that you think you'd like to get on tape here?
No, again, I just thank you for the cooperation. I think we're really looking forward to getting this out in the market. As I said, we're finalizing some of the final things here and there, and test it out. We're testing it now with a lot of customers. The response has been great at the moment, so we're really confident that with this new solution, Glow Plus, and also the future with innovation, really can help our customers out, move forward and be safe for the next 10 to 15 years, while using Glow Plus as the backbone, and that's really has been made possible by Mobilize. So thanks again.
Well, I'm glad that we could help. I look forward to meeting you in person the next time I'm in the Netherlands. It's been a while, but I think I'm actually I might be wearing yesterday I was wearing a t-shirt that I got in Amsterdam at one last visit that we had. So I love that. I love the town. Hope so. Okay. Thanks very much. Take care.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.